You're listening to That Home Loan Hub. I'm Zibuni Salimova, here to make home loans and property investing simple, smart and stress-free. Let's get you closer to your property dreams. If you were wondering about the healthy homes, this is the episode for you. So listen up. I've got an expert with me today in the studio, maybe. She's looking at me very worried. Hello, Jessica.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for agreeing. So this is Jessica Kelty, and she's got a business called Thrive Kind.
That's right.
Give me the background. Where did you hail upon us in Kāpiti Coast?
Okay, yeah, so background for Jessica. I have been working for the last 10 years in the property and construction industries. About 18 months ago, I lost my job as a project manager in a construction company, and being a 47-year-old woman, I've found it extremely difficult to find employment again in this economy. So after 18 months of finding no jobs and having barely any interviews or anything, I've decided to start my own business. And I have retrained to be a home performance advisor, which allows me to do things like healthy homes assessments and help people, live in homes that perform well and actually make them well instead of making them sick. So yes, my business is called Thrive Kind, and it's basically evolved from empathetic consulting because I'm an empathetic person. I'm, a woman in this industry, and I really wanted to convey the fact that I operate from a place of whanaungatanga, which is forming relationships and bringing whānau along on their journey with me with their homes and their children and making their homes healthy for their whānaus. So the whole premise of my business is that I will work with you on a journey. I'm not just a tradesperson. I will come and help you achieve all your healthy home goals and, not just walk away at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're not just coming here, ticking the boxes and walking out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of my clients as well are, vulnerable members of society. So a lot of elderly people, a lot of people, at the low economic spectrum. So, they need that extra help. Mm.
Okay, so healthy homes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot on the news, right? Over the last few years, legislation came into force. All the landlords had to meet the requirements, and then everyone left at the last minute, and then everyone was rushing in to get it. What can you tell me more about that area of what you see right now?
Yeah, so something that I have started to do is a petition to the Parliament with regards to the healthy home standards, because at the moment, there are standards in place. The government has put minimum standards in place for our healthy homes, but there is no compliance system. So the problem with this is that landlords are signing themselves off as compliant. Yes.
You can sign yourself off?
100%. There's no tracking of anything. There's no numbers. The government doesn't have any sort of a database of landlords or who's meeting expectations and who's not. There's no data available on this. So that's the big problem, because what it creates is a huge power imbalance between a tenant and a landlord, because at the moment the onus is on the tenant to complain about the house rather than having the landlord have the onus to have the house healthy before the tenant moves in. Yes. So that's causing really a lot of problems, because unhealthy homes contribute to an additional 1,600 deaths a year over winter, the winter period. We have in New Zealand 40,000 hospital admissions every year that are linked to respiratory illnesses associated with poor housing.
Yeah.
50% of renters report that their house is mouldy and damp. So those are huge numbers, and you can think about the impact on our health system with those numbers.
Yeah. I was surprised when I first came to New Zealand. I was actually quite surprised to see so many people having asthma issues.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why at that point.
Yeah.
And then the more I live here, the more I learned.
Yeah, it's funny because I think back in the day, a lot of our grandparents and parents were told to sleep with their windows open, and that actually is really bad for us to breathe in cold air. Our homes should be between 18 and 20 degrees. The World Health Organization has recommended if you are elderly or if you have children in your home or if you have any sickness, your home should be at 20 degrees. Whereas if you're not elderly and you don't have any sickness, then 18 degrees is fine. And most of our homes are well below that. When you start breathing in air below 16 degrees, it has an impact on your pulmonary and cardiovascular systems. Your blood thickens, and you get things like, asthma and rheumatoid. I can't remember what the other
arthritis.
It starts with R, not arthritis, but it's a respiratory illness. So it's really bad. And a lot of our tamariki have these things. You'll notice a lot of our tamariki have asthma. And
I was shocked.
Yeah, it can a lot of it, obviously not all of it, can be attributed to poor living conditions. Yes.
Okay, so what can the government do further to help?
Well, I've started this petition to the government to change the system so that landlords have to go through a compliance system, because at the moment the only compliance system is when tenants take a landlord through the tenancy tribunal.
And how would the tenants know to even do that?
Well, that's the thing. That therein lies the crux of the issue, because, tenants are already, how do you say, not as powerful as the landlord, because, they're renting this house. They're often spending about 40% of their salary or income on their rent, which means, there's less money to actually do any improvements to the home, like buying curtains or secondary glazing or things like solutions. So this is a real problem. So that's what we need to change. We need to change the fact that landlords are signing themselves off. And there's quite a bit of pushback that I've had from this, because, and what I want to say is that it's not aimed at the bad landlords. If you're a good landlord, you've got nothing to worry about.
Well, that's why I was surprised, because when my property manager took over some of my properties for me, she said, we got to get the certified, and I had a proper inspector come through, and proper inspector have done it. And some of those properties that she took over were privately managed by me before that. And I thought that you cannot certify them yourself. So that's why I'm so surprised that this is a practice.
Yeah.
And that I agree with you, it shouldn't be, because there can be a lot of dodgy stuff going on there, where the landlords can just tick the boxes and send it off, and nobody checks on that.
That's exactly right.
Or at least there should be a double check. I think, landlord has ticked it off themselves, but there should be a certified person. I mean, we can't install plumbing ourselves. We can't install electricity ourselves. We always have certified person to come and do it for us.
Exactly.
So how is that different?
Exactly. And you think about also there's a building warrant of fitness for commercial buildings. There's a warrant of fitness for your car. Why is there not a compliance warrant of fitness for the place where you sleep and live and raise your children? It doesn't make sense to me.
No, but on the flip side of it, I know a lot of property owners that buy a house, especially first-time buyers, they buy a house and it's not compliant at all. And they live in it. So
that is an issue as well. Yes.
It's not good enough to be rented, yet it's good enough for someone to buy it and live in it.
Yeah.
That also blows my mind.
Yeah. This is probably a really good time to talk about Warma Kiwi Homes. Warma Kiwi Homes is a program that's been running for over 20 years. And if you have a gold card or a community services card, then you are eligible for up to 90% off your insulation.
Wow.
That's ceiling insulation, subfloor insulation, and ground vapor barriers. I can attest to the program. I've had it myself. I got insulation upgrade in my ceiling and my subfloor, and I got a ground vapor barrier, and I paid 1 cent for it.
This program is not sponsored by Kiwi Warma Homes, just clarifying. But we do give them a shout out.
Yeah, but it's a free program, and it's specifically out there to help homeowners bring their homes up to standard, because there is such a problem with our housing stock in New Zealand. It's an amazing program, so I would encourage anybody who, even if you have insulation and you think it's sufficient, it's probably more than likely, if it's more than 5 years old, it might not be.
But it's got to be for owner-occupiers, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You can't be a landlord wanting to do this for your tenants.
No, that's correct. Yeah, you should. I mean, if you're running a business, you should be able to afford to run that business. So you should be able to afford to put insulation in that house for your tenants.
Okay. So I also heard of some government initiatives coming up about solar systems and stuff like that. But I guess that's slightly different to this.
Yeah, I think that's slightly different. Like, I know that there's some really cool future-proofing going on with solar, and, for disaster recovery and things like that. I know that we're looking to put solar on maraes and things like that, but I'm not educated enough to talk really too much about solar. Yeah.
So let's we'll go a step back and go back to your actual passion right now. So how did you come up with this idea? How did you wake up one morning and go, I'm going to do this?
Well, to be fair, I do feel a little bit like a fraud because I have not been in this industry for very long. But the conversations I've had with my peers who have been in this industry for a long time and the things that I have seen, then this is just something that we have to do. It's just something that is very clear to me. And why are landlords signing themselves off? We see every day. Yesterday I saw a client. I walked out of that and you just cry. There's nothing else you can do because it's so upsetting to see these beautiful young families who obviously are really good tenants looking after their homes and just being treated like trash by their landlords, and their landlords just not seeing the benefit of having an amazing tenant like that. But having said that, this is not the only solution. Having a compliance system is not the only solution. I was chatting to a guy from the National Tenants Union, and he was talking to me about having a database much like so that we can review landlords and homes. So because it's sort of three-pronged. You need the compliance, you need the reviews, but you also need tenant education because that's a really big part of the puzzle that's missing. A lot of tenants and people didn't have the luxury of guides or mentors to tell them how to blast ventilate their house or to say that you need to open your window when you take a shower. Like, a lot of people just don't know that stuff. So there's a huge space, I think, as well for more tenant education.
How do we educate them?
It's a good question. I would love it to be a life skills course in seventh form or whatever.
I was about
to show
to
my
say,
age there. Sorry, seventh form.
I was about to say, I think it should start at school, and I think it should start even earlier. Like,
Yes.
I'm constantly having these discussions with my kids that, hey, when you shower, can you please turn on the fan? Can you please open the window?
Yeah.
Often they'll have a shower, walk away, and the whole room is just steamy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 100. You're right. Like, I don't know what the solution is. But I think that targeting our young people who are missing out on that really important education is something that really needs to ride alongside the compliance system and a review system for landlords. Yeah.
I'm going to take it a step further from your landlord discussion and go, the whole building code needs to change. Honestly, in New Zealand, the way they build houses, even like the new houses that I'm looking at, we're sitting in the new house and I've got sweaty windows, because of the temperature difference here. The house gets really cold at night, even though I've got extra insulation, I've got extra windows that I've invested in and this and this and the other. This house still gets really, really cold.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic to bring up because I actually think that anybody who's building a home should employ a healthy homes advisor or assessor right at the beginning when you're actually doing the design, because the problem with our houses today is that we're building them differently. Now, instead of getting too cold, a lot of them actually get just far too hot. And, we build houses that are aesthetically beautiful, but they're not facing north. They're not getting the sun. So we're building houses with no eaves, So we have to look at it and, say whether or not we're building these homes correctly, because they may look beautiful, but maybe they just don't function properly.
Yeah. And to bring back to your point about the tenants and the mold, I've been seeing so many posts on Facebook, from people going, hey, we've just moved into this new build property and we're getting all this mold. Like, what's going on here? And again, I think part of me that they were building them in certain areas of New Zealand, they were building them way too fast without any proper supervision, maybe cutting corners or even, bathrooms leaking or whatever.
Yeah.
Because a brand new house should not be causing any mold.
I definitely agree with you. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's all to do with like systems as well, and the types of houses that we're building and the way we're orientating themselves. And that is frustrating when you go to a client and you see their house and there's literally nothing you can do about it because just either the way it's orientated or there's, trees and things like that. So some houses are just going to be inherently bad houses because of the way they're built and the way they're orientated. But I think that we just need to get a lot smarter about it. We still build houses that face the street. It's like, why?
I know. I'm
Yeah.
just sitting here going, why?
Yeah.
I agree with
It
you.
doesn't make sense. So I just think we need to be a little bit more pragmatic about it and just maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think there should be like a whole rehaul. Let's just start a petition.
Yeah.
Complete rehaul.
Okay, start that. That will be a mammoth petition. It's been very interesting, the feedback that I've been getting on my petition. Somebody has been called, I'm getting messages saying I'm Hitler because I want more compliance. You know, I get people telling me that I hate landlords, all these sorts of things.
Let me guess, it's probably people that own properties.
Yeah.
Look, I own properties.
Yeah.
And I'm honest about my own property journey. And as a landlord, I agree with you.
Yes.
I think there should be compliance because that gives us a whole as a bad name. Like people that don't do things properly gives us, the good landlords, a bad name. And as I said, I didn't even know any different. I thought, you got to get it certified by a person because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That just blows my mind.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And that's the thing is there's so many things that you don't know. Yeah. And I think that's a huge problem for tenants as well. There's so many things that they just don't know and so they can't.
But then putting the shoe on the other foot as well, I did have some terrible tenants in the past.
Yes.
So there are also tenants that should also be taking responsibility for their own actions. Just last year, I've had a massive loss of $60,000 for my rental properties. They both got absolutely destroyed by the tenants.
God.
I had to spend a lot of time renovating them. They wouldn't pay rent, all sorts. So, and those properties were brand new, renovated when I gave it to them.
Yeah.
When I received them back, my property manager thought I've never done any work on those properties.
Crazy.
That's how bad they looked.
Wow.
So for me, I always try to look at things from both perspectives. There are good landlords that try their best, that try to, and as you say, well, it's a business, you got to have the money, but sometimes you just end up in a big giant hole, not to the fault of your own, but because someone hasn't treated your home with respect. And for me, it's important that everyone should be taking responsibility, not just the landlords, not just the tenants, everyone together.
Yeah.
And I think the more we educate people in that area that, hey, these are your responsibilities, these are our responsibilities, and together we hope to create a better New Zealand for all. Because at the end of the day, there will always be people that will be renting.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. This is not the only solution, and there are, and just like there's bad houses, there's bad people as well. But hopefully, there's a system that I'm sure when those people move out, you don't give them a reference, for example. So they would then find it harder to find a house somewhere else. But I totally agree with you. There are some really horrific tenants out there. I don't know what the answer is to that. Education, I don't know.
But it's also breaking the cycles.
Yes.
I think a lot of the bad tenants that come through would have been part of the system.
Yeah.
They would have come from either poverty or mental health or something. Something would have gone wrong in their lives for them to be that way.
Yes.
And again, this is me, being compassionate and empathetic because I do understand that life happens to people. So what sort of support systems do we put in there? What sort of databases do we have for the landlords, for the tenants? What needs to happen?
Do you know there actually is already a database? It's the Tenancy Tribunal. So whenever you log a bond, you have to go through the Tenancy Tribunal. So New Zealand actually already has a database of most landlords. I'm not going to say every because I'm sure there are landlords out there that don't lodge bonds with the Tenancy Tribunal. But in theory, we've already got it in place. So if we can just turn the back end so it's forward facing and turn it into a system that we can actually use, then I think that would be a really great, easy place to start.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I did get an issued landlord number, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. There will be some sort of identification for the landlords.
Yeah, so we're pretty much already halfway there with the database. Now we just need to turn it so it's public facing so that we can rate. We can rate properties and we can rate landlords or both, and we can also rate tenants.
Oof, that's going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of people.
For some people. But again, it's going to make life easy for the people who are doing things right.
Yeah.
And which I think is what we need to do. And
it's an honesty exercise as well, I think.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. There's actually already a couple of websites. I know there's one down in Wellington where just a student, I think, has developed a website where you can go in and rate your flats.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I think is brilliant. I'd love to see more of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just, I suddenly had a thought of you travelling down to Dunedin and checking out those properties.
Oh, God. Well, I did used to be a student. I have rented lots of places. I lived on Ada Street in Palmerston North, I think.
Oh, Ada Street.
Yeah, I think anyone who knows Palmerston North knows Ada Street for the flats there.
Yep, good old Palmy. I'm from Palmy.
Oh,
so
really?
Palmy's home.
Yeah.
I know Ada Street. Yep.
Yeah, so you'll know I think it's almost a rite of passage to live in a terrible home as a young person, but it's definitely not what we want as we get older and a bit more mature.
No. You know, it's funny, a lot of landlords that I see are actually just mum and dad that buy something that they want their kids to stay in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sweet as well. I have a lot of mum and dads right now coming through going, oh, my kid's going to go to university next year or the year after, and I want to buy something for my kid to live in because I don't want my kid to live in a very crappy place.
Yeah, that's true. And you see more of that. And if parents can do it, lucky those kids, eh? Kids.
To be honest, I do feel sorry for those parents because I'm like, guys, that's a big haul. How are you going to pay it? Because obviously they're not going to charge their kid a full rent.
That's right. Yeah, what I'm seeing more of now as well, because, they've changed the laws about having additional dwellings in your backyard.
Yes.
So you can build a 70 square metre dwelling without a building code consent now, which I think is amazing. It's going to help with intergenerational living, it's going to provide a lot more sort of smaller places for elderly. I'm really excited by that.
And I believe you still have to get certain checks along the way, which, again, a lot of people didn't know. They thought that, you could just go and slap whatever you want at the back. No, there are still checks. That
you still have to have a licensed building practitioner to do it. So you wouldn't want just a cabinet maker to go into your backyard and build a house, which was something that was suggested to me at some point. But no, you need to have, you'd still need to have everything certified as well.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's going to be something that's going to be really exciting for, our housing industry in New Zealand to see that popping up more.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're going to become a little bit more affordable.
Yeah.
But there's so many really cool solutions.
I know. I was just talking to another guy. Yeah. I don't know if you've talked to him. I think there was a big feature about him in the newspaper where he wants to build, I think they're like quick kid-set homes as well.
Yeah.
But, much more healthier and much more faster that you can just build them and put them in and stuff like that. So I think there are solutions, and I think as a growing country, the population is growing. The population is aging.
Yes.
And we do need to take that into factor because I don't think they did that 30 years ago. I don't think they expected the population to grow as fast or the migration happening so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to I just hope that people take it up because not only can you potentially be helping out, a family member down the line, but it's a great little side hustle for, some income on the side, having a little 70 square metre granny flat in your backyard.
But also safety-wise, like let's say if there's a single mum, and she's got a kid at home and she doesn't feel awfully secure by herself, knowing that there's someone else at the back.
Yeah.
Hopefully a nice person at the back of your, surely you'll vet them.
Yeah.
Having someone else at the back may provide some security.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been watching Netflix, The Worst Neighbours Ever.
Oh, me too.
So I'm like, oh.
I know. God, that's insane, eh?
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I think it's going to be a great thing for the future. I think it's probably ramping up now. We're not going to see any benefits just yet, but, in the future we will.
So 5 seconds of fame for you, Jessica. How do people find you? We'll put it in the footnotes as well of this podcast, and you can reshare that as well with your network. But for my listeners, how do they find you if they are in Kāpiti Coast, Wellington region?
Well, I don't have a website yet because my business is still quite new and I need a bit more capital. But you can find me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Thrive Kind. And I'm all over the Kāpiti Coast. And, I'd be more than happy to help as many people as possible to live in their warm, dry, healthy homes. And, I just want to see less people in hospital, less sickness, less children with asthma, less all of the bad stuff.
Look, I was just thinking if we can prevent just one death.
Yeah.
You had 16 deaths in there. If we can just prevent 1,600. Yeah, I forgot to put the 100. But, if we can just save one person from it, that's our job. We're all responsible collectively.
Yeah.
So I love it.
I'll leave you with one healthy homes tip then, something that we like to call blast ventilating. If you go around your house every morning, open up every door and window, leave them open for 20 minutes and then shut it up again. Like that is just one thing that I tell everybody to do. It changes the air in your home. It doesn't lose any of the heat. You'll get less condensation, and it's an easy win, and it's free.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Will you be back again to share more tips with us?
I'd love to, yeah.
Good
I'd
to
love
have
to come
you.
and maybe, I am talking with Kieran McAnulty about this petition as well. Like it's going to go far and wide. I'm really hoping that I get, 5 to 10,000 signatures on it so I can present it to whoever wins in the next election.
Oof.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Lovely to have you on the show.
Thanks, Sebanuso.
And that's a wrap on That Home Loan Hub. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join me next time for more property tips and tricks. Your next smart move starts here.